POV of a 30-year-old making $187,000 a month working in pharma sales. First thing I did when I woke up was grab my butler-made coffee, head on over to the balcony and pretend to look out into the distance like I'm someone important. Jokes. That was my 2 truths and 1 lie. Those of you that I'm meeting for the first time, welcome to the channel. My name's David Tong. I know I look about 13, but I'm actually in my 30s, and I've spent almost a decade working in the pharmaceutical industry, with 7 of those years in pharmaceutical sales. Previously, I was a hospital pharmacist, and outside of work, as you've probably seen on some of my other vlogs, I love food and fitness. Today, I'm on another domestic flight, and I'm taking you with me on a trip up to Byron, as I'm off to see some doctors in Lismore. I really want to focus in on 3 questions. The first one, why you should consider a role in pharmaceutical sales. The second one, to give you a bit of a sneak peek into what a pharmaceutical sales rep does. And the third one, to also answer the question, how hard is it to be a pharmaceutical sales rep? Watch to the very end as I take you on an exclusive tour of Australia's most opulent, yet serene, medicinal cannabis dispensaries. And as we're going off to Byron, who knows, maybe we'll bump into a Hemsworth. So I'm going to try to do a rapid fire 10 reasons why you should consider a role in pharmaceutical sales. The first one, as we've seen from a number of the guests I've interviewed, is there are the largest number of roles in pharmaceutical sales. So this is your best way to get into the pharmaceutical industry. The hardest part is getting a foot in the door. So once you're in, you're in. The second reason why you should consider pharmaceutical sales is, with the advent of AI, I think sales and roles where you need to build a personal relationship are relatively safe. I don't think AI has the emotional intelligence that humans do and the connection, and we already saw from COVID, when we all got locked up and forced to use digital platforms, the moment lockdown ended, we ran to our friends and tried to socialize as much as we could. The third reason is it's going to teach you an essential life skill. You may not realize this, but every day you are selling to someone, whether that's convincing your family where to go for Friday night dinner or takeaway, to debating with your friends who is the ultimate footy team and going to win the premiership this season. That skill in convincing someone is sales. And so selling is one of the most essential skills you could have in life. Reason number 4, as I'm showing you today, is you get to see different parts of the state and go to places where you probably would never go to on your personal time. I know in my role, I've covered a lot of Western New South Wales, so Dubbo, Orange, Bathurst, Mudgee, and had it not been for my role in pharmaceutical sales, I probably would have never got to experience such beautiful towns in Australia or New South Wales. Reason number 5 is having a positive impact on society. Access to critical medications is super important for patients, and I know there's been a lot of heat on pharmaceutical companies through slightly sensationalized Netflix and Hollywood movies, but at its core, I think pharmaceutical companies exist for a great cause, and that's to help sick patients, bringing innovative research and medicine to patients who can benefit. Reason number 6 is career growth. For those of us who've worked in corporate, you see there's a plethora of opportunities, and even on this channel alone, I can already pick out a key example in Jess Lazinski. She was an MSL when we sat down and did our interview, and now she's a medical lead, killing it, promoted, and that's not uncommon. Obviously she's very good at her role, that's no disrespect to Jess, but you can achieve the same thing if you work hard and you demonstrate your capability. I think you'll see the world is your oyster in the pharmaceutical industry, and the starting point of that is pharmaceutical sales. Reason number 7 is work-life balance. I hope through this vlog you'll get to see a little bit of work-life balance. Yes, this morning's gym routine was slightly rushed, as I spent a lot of the time planning what I was going to talk about on this vlog, but I'll be able to catch my breath on the 1-hour flight up to Byron, maybe get a little bit of shut-eye. Reason number 8 is remuneration, and I've already made an exclusive video looking at some of the salaries pharmaceutical sales reps can make. Check out the link in the description and click there to see more. Reason number 9 is if you're looking for your first sales role, I think the pharmaceutical sales route is a great starting point because it's very forgiving. Unlike the tech industry, very cutthroat, very metric driven. In pharmaceutical sales, if you don't hit your metrics, your sales targets, in my experience, I've found it's been a lot more understanding, and your manager will usually work with you to understand what's going wrong, which is very different to what I hear in software sales, where literally if you don't hit your monthly target for 3 months in a row, you're out the door. Reason number 10, I've made a video on this, but to summarize the other 9 reasons is I think pharmaceutical sales gives you AMP, which stands for autonomy, mastery, and purpose. And if you don't understand what I mean by that, again, check the links in the description below. It's an acronym that will help you understand whether you're in the dream role or in a nightmare job. I've just arrived at Sydney Airport, so I've got to put the camera away. I'll chat to you guys soon.
So you have the Thai chicken rice ball.
So just finished my call. Time really got the better of me today. The flight was delayed 30 minutes, and from Byron or Ballina to Lismore is a 40-minute drive. And I had to pick up food for the doctor, so it's 2:30 now. I'm gonna have my cold, sad, miserable sambal fish, but for the last hour or two, my stomach has been doing whale mating call noises, and I'll eat anything right now. And to the point of how hard is it to be in pharmaceutical sales? Yeah, look, meal planning is obviously critical, and today, poor planning by me. I should have had a bigger breakfast, knowing that there was a chance of a flight delay. But on the flip side, to what I talked about earlier, why pharmaceutical sales, it teaches you so much about resilience, positivity, and reframing. And look, I was super excited coming to Lismore. I've never been here before, and yeah, it's been really cool. I haven't been to Byron in quite some time, and I'm heading there now after I finish this soggy fish. And I think that's what sales is going to teach you, to bounce back from initial setbacks, whether that be in your role or what you are inevitably going to encounter in your life. Setbacks are going to happen, and how you learn to manage and deal with those is going to be a key life skill. So I hope you don't mind if I eat and talk. It's also been a frantic day with a lot of calls coming from Sydney, even though I'm out up here almost in Queensland, and that's part of the job, right? You've got to manage all your stakeholders and get everything done. Like I said, our car is our office. For those of you curious, I reckon this would have been a solid 8 out of 10, but now it's cold and miserable, 3 out of 10. Now, one of the things I really enjoy though about coming to regional areas is in specialty care, I can set appointments. So I know at least the doctors are running roughly on time. And I do find in regional settings, they're a lot more friendly than in the city. And there's a lot more of that community feel, which I really enjoy. And as part of my introduction today, meeting this doctor for the first time, I said, look, hey, I'm a pharmacist, and one of my friends has just opened a medicinal cannabis dispensary down in Byron, and he knew the exact one I was talking about. And it's a small, tight-knit community, and in doing that, I'm building rapport with him. Speaking of, put your seatbelts on, we're going to head off to Astrid. Hey, how are you? Here we are, guys, Astrid Dispensary, Byron Bay. My good friend Lisa, she's going to give us a tour of this.
Hey everyone, I'm Lisa from Astrid. We're here at my Byron Bay dispensary, and I'm going to give you a quick tour of what a cannabis dispensary looks like. So we have a books on cannabis and different types of artwork related to cannabis. Over here we have our bench where we do a lot of education, and then we've got a sliding drawer that showcases all of our medical devices. So these are dry herb vaporizers that patients on inhaled cannabis can actually use for inhalation purposes. Over here we have a range of different accessories that patients can purchase, over-the-counter vaporizers and pods and capsules to utilize with their medical devices. Over here we have a range of different retail items to encompass the whole plant journey, and these are multi-purpose essence burners, including a candle. We've also got a candle that is a cannabis-inspired candle as well, and in essence we have built the whole space to allow patients who are accessing medicinal cannabis to feel safe and comfortable talking to our healthcare professionals and pharmacists about their medicines.
Love it. So Lisa, thank you for the tour of this beautiful dispensary that you've built. I feel like I've been a part of the journey, coming here early doors and seeing the initial setup, so it's wonderful to see what you've built and achieved.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. And I know you've spent a bit of time in industry, so a lot of the channel's audience, they're looking at their first field-based role, whether that's as an MSL or in sales.
Yep.
A lot of these guys will have quotas to go see pharmacists and things like that. What's your advice on what questions they could be asking pharmacists and how they can add value? Are there particular resources that you've found helpful from pharmaceutical companies, whether that's in med cannabis or
Yeah, I think it depends on what kind of role it is, because I've been in a medical cannabis MSL before. I was an MSL for about almost 4 years, and I wanted to get into pharma as well. And so I went from a pharmacist in retail and then hospital, and then I got into, I guess, cannabis pharma, which is slightly different to regular pharma, I would say, as a disclaimer. And the reason why that is because medicinal cannabis is an unregistered medicine in Australia. So a lot of the roles are not necessarily sales roles, but they're medical science liaison roles. And the main difference is for sales roles, you're looking at, in pharma roles, you're looking at an approved medicine. So you have the data set already. So you're talking to a customer, whether it's a pharmacist or a doctor or an oncologist or a psychiatrist, with an approved molecule or medicine that has undergone the rigorous clinical trials already. So you've got a data set there that you can actually have a meaningful conversation with a healthcare professional about. Medicinal cannabis is very, very difficult and different in that you're talking about an unregistered medicine, something that hasn't necessarily undergone all the rigorous clinical trials, but there's a lot of anecdotal evidence. And so sometimes bridging that gap with a healthcare professional can be a bit difficult, particularly when you're talking to specialists, because they're used to the rigor. So they're used to the very in-depth kind of evidence-based kind of medicine. But the way that I've bridged it is asking them, well, have any of your patients actually accessed cannabis before? And when you're talking to a pain specialist or sometimes even GPs and even oncologists, they would say, yes, my patients have said that they have accessed cannabis, but I don't know in what way. And so I think that's a really great way to start or spark a conversation. And so, because I think as healthcare professionals, our role is to ensure that patients are accessing medicine safely. And so when you're talking to an oncologist and you're saying, well, there is a way for you to allow this or help this patient access legal cannabis and products that are actually registered or pass through the TGA in terms of quality and compliance, and you can actually monitor the patient using this medicine as well. I think that builds a lot of trust and credibility with oncologists, because they're like, hey, actually, I do want to actually monitor my patients whilst they're trying out this CBD product, because I want to make sure they're using it properly, rather than this patient going somewhere else to getting...
grow something in the backyard.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know what you're getting, right?
Bob
Yeah, exactly. So I think that particularly for patients who are end of life or going through cancer, a lot of those oncologists are like, you know what, I'm willing to give it a try, even though it might not have that body of evidence that regular therapeutic medicines have.
Okay. Yeah, that's super interesting about medicinal cannabis being one of the newer treatments, and I look forward to hearing more updates. And again, so peaceful in this dispensary. If patients who are looking or have scripts for medicinal cannabis, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so we have a dispensary based in Melbourne, Victoria, and also Byron Bay, New South Wales. But we also have a national telehealth clinic. So we have a team of doctors and nurses in our Ashford clinic, but also a team of pharmacists and technicians in our dispensaries. So if you ever want to get in touch, or you have someone that would like to get access to cannabis, then you can reach us on ashford.health or ashford.clinic and then book an appointment, and our team will walk you through how to navigate the space.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Guys, I'll leave a link to that in the description below if you're interested to find out more about Astrid. Click through and Lisa and the team will be happy to sort you out. So we've just checked into tonight's accommodation. It's pissing down rain in Byron, if you can hear. And as I mentioned, I'm at a startup and things are a little bit different. We do have to manage budgets a little more closely. No more Qantas and Virgin flights, it's Rex and Jetstar. No more luxurious hotels, and I don't think anyone would believe me unless I had done this vlog that work has stitched me up with a hostel for this evening. Let me give you the room tour. Got our beautiful couch and backdrop of palm trees. Let's check out our bedding arrangements with my hostel friends. Shared kitchen, bathroom. Not too bad. And so, like I said, with sales, it's going to teach you just to roll with the punches. I'm obviously joking, this room is just mine. It's quite late now, but tomorrow morning I'll show you around the rest of the complex and why I think this is actually a hostel. But in any case, I'm grateful that I've got a pretty comfortable living arrangement and I'm sheltered from the crazy weather outside. And I got plenty of space to get some work done. So tomorrow morning, a new day, and I look forward to sharing some of Byron's best cafes and tomorrow's lunch run with you. Good night.